so let's now look at question 7. Oh, my dear, there is a fraction. So what should we do if there's a fraction? Well, first thing you need to do is have a good little cry, and then you just wipe off those tears and you just put the 1/8 in a box, and it's going to be okay. It's a fraction, but we have calculators, so we're going to be all right. We put an 8. Now there's no w to the third, so it's a 0. Then the 9 for the w squared, then a 0 for the w, and a -1. So lots of zeros on these. You drop the 8 and you party. Well, 8 times 1/8, that's not hard. That's just 1. And add is 1. Now it gets a little tricky because that's 1/8. So use your calculator and you'll type 9 plus 1/8. Then hit math 1, and that is 73 over 8. It's already in my calculator, so I'll take it times 1/8 again. But really, that's the same thing as multiplying the denominators by 8. So if you hit math 1, you will get 73 over 64. And you'll add it, and you'll get 73 over 64. Take it times 1/8 one more time, hit math 1 again, and you get 73 over 512. Subtract 1 from that, hit math 1. And why did I say subtract 1? You could take -1 plus that, but I just went upward so that I didn't have to take it out of my calculator. And I get this horrible looking remainder, -439 over 512. So it's gross. That is the remainder though. That's my number, x, x squared, and x to the third. So let's type this guy in and see if we did it correctly. 8x to the third plus x squared plus 73 over 8 x plus 73 over 64. And then this horrible remainder is -439 over 512. Oh, I messed up. It says your answer for the remainder is correct, but the answer for the quotient is incorrect. Let's see what I messed up here. Oh, I bet I know why, because I can't be using x's. I need to be using w's. That's going to drive you guys nuts. That will be a horrible thing on this. That won't be an issue when you take it in person, so don't worry about that. Okay? So don't worry about that. Okay, now they tell us to use synthetic division to find P of K for the given value. So what does that mean? Well, I could use synthetic division, but why? It's not hard just to find P of 3. So just go ahead and find P of 3. That's 3 to the third minus 4 times 3 squared plus 10. Just do it that way. 27 minus 4 times 9 plus 10. That's 27 minus 36 plus 10. Type it in your calculator. And the answer is just 1. So if it's easy, let's keep it easy. Same thing here. It says to use synthetic division, but I don't want to. Just plug in -3. Make sure you use parentheses. -3 to the fourth minus -3 to the third minus 10 times -3 squared plus 30 times -3 minus 39. So what happens here? -3 to the fourth will end up being positive, and it's the same thing as 9 times 9, which is 81. Minus, this will be negative. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So it's minus a -27, which will become plus a positive. This will be -10 times 9. So this will be minus 90. This will also be a minus 90 minus 39. So I could type it in my calculator. Don't forget this minus a negative becomes plus a positive. Minus 90 minus 90 minus 39. And I'm getting -111. If you type it in carefully with the parentheses, you should be fine. Okay, so this one. What do we do with f of 2? That's easy. Just plug in 2. We just talked about it. So that will be 2 to the fourth minus 16. So 2 to the fourth minus 16, well, 2 to the fourth is 16. 16 minus 16, okay, that's 0. What about f of -2? Okay, I can do that too. That's pretty easy. That will just be negative 2 to the fourth minus 16, parentheses. So negative 2 to the fourth is still 16, and 16 minus 16 is still 0. So we get 0 again. But what about this horrible looking thing? I have to plug this horrible 2 minus root 10 into x to the fourth minus 16. So what does that mean? It means 2 minus the square root of 10 to the fourth, that whole thing to the fourth, minus 16. Okay, so this means 2 minus root 10 times 2 minus root 10 times 2 minus root 10 times 2 minus root 10. Holy cow, minus 16. Now we're lucky though, because it's 4 are the same, I can just do 2 of these and I'll know that these two are going to be the same thing. So let's just do 2 at a time. 2 times 2, we're going to double distribute. 2 times 2 is 4. Then look, minus 2 root 10 and minus another 2 root 10. So I have minus 2 root 10 minus 2 root 10. So that's a total of minus 4 square root of 10s. Now I have a negative times a negative, which is a plus. Square root of 10 times the square root of 10 is the square root of 100, or the same thing as the square root of 10 squared, if you want to think of that way, which is just 10. So when I double distributed that, I got 14 minus 4 root 10. Well, what would I get if I double distributed this? I'd get the same thing. I'd get 14 minus 4 square root of 10. So this is the same thing as that. And I still have to subtract 16 at the end. So now my problem, let's give us some space here, that I have left to figure out is 14 minus 4 root 10 times 14 minus 4 root 10. And then we're going to subtract 16. So we're just going to FOIL again, double distribute. What is 14 times 14? Well, use your calculator if you need to, but it's 196. What's 14 times minus 4 root 10? Well, what's 14 times negative 4? It's negative 56. So that is negative 56 square root of 10. What's the inside going to be? The same thing, negative 56 square root of 10. So negative 56 plus another negative 56 gives you a total of negative 112 square root of 10. And now what do we do about the last piece? Definitely it's going to be plus because a negative times a negative is a positive. But if you have negative 4 root 10 times negative 4 root 10, what do I have? I have 16 root 100, or 16 times 10, which is 160. Feel like I'm doing this wrong, but let's see. What's 196 plus 160? 356 minus 112 square root of 10. And then we have to subtract 16. So 356 minus 16, I get 340 minus 112 root 10. Let's see what happens. I don't feel like that looks very good. Kind of wanted it to be 0 since those other two were 0. 340 minus 112 square root of 10. Oh, we got it right. It was just a nasty looking problem. We're going to stop here so people can find another jumping in point if they need to.